In today's episode, we're going to talk about the importance of being present with Josh Bickers. We're going to talk about the importance of being present.
Yes.
How did that hit you when I ask you that way?
Well, I think that thinking about being present can be something when someone says we need to be more present, that you hear that and it's one of those things where it's like, hey, okay, everybody says be more present, but how do you actually be present? And I think that, so first I would just like to say that when we do become present, I think that the act of being in the here and in the now is a way for us to not worry about the future and not worry about or be hung up on the things in the past. And if we look energetically on what being present actually is, so when we're not present, that means that my mind right now, sitting right here, my mind, if I wasn't present, would be on, I have a session in an hour and a half. I need to make sure that I have that. And my kids are out on a walk. I hope everything's okay with them. I have to go to Kings Island tonight and I have to. So like my energy, I need to get this for the center. I need to do that. My energy is spread and it's like an extension of my energy being pushed out into reality. And that holds energy, those situations, those things you're worried about, those things that have happened. Then we look at things such as stuff in the past. So things that have happened in the past, if we're caught up on them all the time or just caught up on them in general, it takes some of our energy away, so we're not whole. If we're worried about something in the future, it takes energy away from us, so we're even more not whole. So our body would look like an energetic body that's just glowing with pieces missing from it. That's the way I look at not being present. When we do become present, we take those breaths, which I'm going to talk about in just a second, but we end up getting or bringing all of our energy back to us. So when we want to become present, the way that I often teach it is that we bring ourselves to where we're at and we look around the room and we start to take in the things that are around the room. And then as we realize, okay, I'm sitting in this chair, I feel myself in the chair, I feel my hands, I feel my arms, then I take a breath. And as I take a breath, I feel all of my energy that is wherever it is coming in and just becoming one with me. And then I breathe out and I just take a few breaths to bring that energy back. So then what's happening in that moment is you are in the here and the now. You're not worried about the future, not worried about the past, not thinking about anything else. And if you practice that enough, when I'm having someone learn how to be more present, I have them set an alarm in their phone for like every 2 to 3 hours to stop and become present. And they do that exercise for 5 minutes. That's it. And ultimately, after you do that for a few weeks, you get to a place where you're not worried about what's happening, because I used to be where I have this happening in a week and that's all I would think about. Now I have to look at my calendar because I don't even know what I have to do tomorrow, because there's no reason I'm worrying about it besides preparing for things and stuff like that.
Yeah, but ultimately I think more important is if you're not being present, you're not enjoying what's happening right here, right now. And if you're not paying attention and you're not enjoying what's happening right here, right now, that's when you miss out all the signals from the universe of anything that is happening to you, because you're actually like, yeah, you're probably driving your car. Well, driving is a different situation. But like, if we're sitting down in here and instead like paying attention to something, you're paying attention to something else. And this conversation has a meaning. Every single interaction with everything that is around you has a meaning. So if you're not paying attention to that thing, you're just passing along. It's kind of like going to college, paying a lot of money, going to college and not paying attention. What's the point of it? You're not going to learn the shit, right? Because it's just like, just not paying attention to the things. So more than like what you just said is very good. That's a good thing to do. Like setting up on your phone every 2 hours, just like me, for example, when I'm tattooing, often I have that thing in my head when I'm tattooing, because it's like, even so when I have interaction with people and we talk and all that stuff, a lot of times I find myself like just quiet doing my thing. And when that happens, what I do is like, and I kind of like pay attention, what's around me, what's going on, what's happening, why is that song playing, why is this person saying this thing? Like, it's not, I know that sometimes it can sound kind of like a psychopath. You're like trying to control and see everything, but it's not like that. It's just like paying attention and absorb the information that is around you, because there's a meaning for everything that is happening all the time.
Well, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's, I mean, all of what you said. I love the metaphor of the college thing and not retaining anything that you learned, but that is true. And, you know, and you spoke about the car, and that can be a good example, because for me, that's actually...
Well, I find myself like driving and talking like to someone on the phone, or driving and texting.
Right.
So that's not that good.
Well, no, but like what I do, so when I am not present, because let's face it, we're all humans, and we're going to fluctuate from being incredibly present to not present at all, and we have to try to bridge that gap. So this is present, and this is super present up here, and this is not present at all. We want to make it to where the waves aren't like this and they're kind of like this. Yes. It's shorter, so we're staying more towards present. But I realize when I'm not present in my car, I will drive from my house to my office or wherever I'm going, and I will realize that I didn't even listen. I don't even know what songs played on the radio. Like, I didn't even turn my Bluetooth on to listen to my music, and I'm halfway to my center. So for me, that tells me that I am in my head thinking about all kinds of other things, and that's depleting your energy. So what I do is I then will make sure that I'm turning my radio on and I'm listening to the songs, and I'm looking at the trees, and I'm here and now, and so on. And then along with that, you were talking about being present for conversations, and that is so important, because oftentimes when we talk, we're thinking about other things, or we're thinking about what we want to talk about, and we're not actually listening to what the person's talking about. I learned this lesson actually a long time ago, and it's one of those things where now anytime anybody talks to me, even if, because we're talking to people a lot of the times just to get through the conversation, basically. Like, we're not, like, if we're out somewhere and someone's like, oh wow, I love that shirt, it reminds me of my son when he used to wear it, and he's, you know, blah blah blah. A lot of the times we're like, oh yeah, great, and you're kind of trying to get back to what you're doing. But that person stopping and saying that, if you were being present and you were there actually listening to what they say, there's probably some sort of there's most likely a message behind what they're saying. And there was one instance, I don't remember the specifics of it, but I'm going to try to, because it's a very good example of what you're talking about. And I was at a golfing range one time, or not a golfing range, a putt-putting place. And we putt-putting, like mini golf. Like mini golf. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know English.
No,
I don't know.
You're good. Yeah, some other people are probably like, what? Putt-putting. So yeah, mini golf. And we went into the clubhouse to get our clubs, and this guy who was like, just like, I wanted to get our clubs. I wanted my son to get his, and then go out and do our thing, because we had to get back because dinner and all that stuff. But there was a guy in there, and he's like, oh, hey, buddy. And he's like talking to my son, and I'm just like, you know, kind of like, whatever, yeah, let's go on. And my guides, or the universe, or God, however you want to put it, I felt this thought, or this feeling of, listen, like, settle into this conversation and listen and be present. And I was like, okay. So I did. And this guy ended up, in the 1 minute we talked, he ended up saying something. And again, unfortunately, I don't remember exactly what it was, but he ended up saying something that was so affirming for me. And it was just it was so much validation for me and what was going on in my journey that I was like, holy cow. Because when that guy talked to me, he was like talking to my son, and then he like looked at me in my eyes and said what he said. But it was like this feeling of like the universe was talking through him or something. And I was like, okay. And I was like, so that was for me. If I wasn't settling in there and I didn't listen and I wasn't really present, I probably wouldn't have received that message I was given. And it was very profound at the moment. So profound that I can't remember it now, but it was like, it was really good. So, being present is important for so many different reasons. Like if you are in school and the teacher's teaching and you're not listening because you're thinking about other things, well, you're not going to learn anything. And it's the same way in life. If you're not listening, if you're not present in life, you're not going to retain the things that's going on. And then lastly, one other thing that just popped up is synchronicities. You know, it's said that we receive like 1,000 synchronicities a day or something crazy like that. Now, synchronicity is when the universe or God, your guides or whatever are talking to you and sending you signs. So like if you see the number 44 and you keep seeing it all day, or you see the number 44 and then later on you see the number 11 and then 33, or you hear the name of someone and you keep hearing that same name, or you hear things about welding and you just so happen to be thinking about going into welding school or whatever. Those are synchronicities, but our brain is trained to get rid of any unnecessary information and retain the important information. Well, on Earth here, we are taught that important information is about our job or about, you know, the necessities, the things that we absolutely need to think about. And so we're not thinking about the other stuff that we're seeing. So when you're present and you're really allowing yourself to listen and you're allowing yourself to take in what's going on, you start to realize, you know what, I have heard the name Jake over and over. You're going to be like, well, I heard the name Jake. And like a personal quick story of that is I did keep hearing the name Jake. That's why I say that. But I was hearing the name Jake, and then someone said, they called me Jake. They were like, hey, Jake. And I was like, oh, it's Josh and whatever. And oh, I'm so sorry. Then later on that night, I was at a meetup and this guy was like, hey, I just want to tell you, every time I'm like talking to you, I keep hearing the name Jake. And I'm like, why in the hell am I hearing the name Jake? So I went home that night and I never watched movies. And I was like, I'm going to just look at what movies are on Disney Plus or whatever. And I ended up going and seeing Avatar, the first
Jake
movie.
Sully.
Jake Sully.
Yeah, there you go.
So I was like, whatever. Cool. I feel led to watch it. I'm just going to watch it. And I started watching it. Let me just preface this with, I was in a time of my life where I wanted to get back to my authentic connection with the universe and with Earth, because I felt like I was kind of straying from it a little bit, meaning like worried about the money aspect of like doing healings for money and making enough so I can make it my career. I wasn't in like I just want money kind of state, but I was like, I need money to survive and I want to do this for my career and so on. So anyway, I wanted to get back to the pure, genuine connection. And I was trying to figure out how. So I kept hearing Jake. Then I turned on that movie. And then literally, as the movie goes on, they said, Jake Sully or whatever. And I was like, no way, man. I was like, all right, so I need to really pay attention and be present for this movie. And my kids were running around. And I was like, I'm going to pause it. I'm going to wait for them to go to bed. And then I'm going to watch this like I'm like learning something. And I'll tell you, man, number one, if anyone watching this hasn't seen Avatar, 100% they should watch it. Number two, that like it changed my trajectory in life at that moment, and it helped me so much. But if I wouldn't have been present, I might not have realized that I heard Jake so many times. I also might not have realized that I heard the name Jake in the movie. I need to pause it and wait for my kids to go to bed so I can really pay attention. So I do just think that being present helps you with being able to hear and realize the synchronicities and the things that's going on in life so you can know where you need to go and what the universe is trying to tell you, basically.
Fantastic. That's beautiful. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, likewise, man. I love talking with you.
So good. Josh, Where are we here?
So we are at the Center for Healing and Integration, which is in Cincinnati, Ohio. It is a wellness center that has around 11 practitioners here, and we do different stuff, everything from Reiki to massage therapy to crystal surgery, a whole bunch of different stuff. And
I hear you start the chakra bonding online.
Yes. So I do private lesson or sessions for Reiki healing. I also teach a lot, and I do have a chakra bonding course, which the chakra bonding course, as you know, it's something that's very important to me because my teacher channeled it for me, and it literally changed my life. And it is something that I now teach to people, and I walk you through basically bonding with your 7 main chakras, bonding with your energy, learning all about your energy, learning how to tap into your intuition, and it helps you to move into your flow state to live a better life. And by like week 3 or 4, I usually see people's lives starting to change, and it's just an amazing thing to watch. So I usually teach that in person, and I just launched it online, and it is significantly cheaper than in person. Everything is broken down, and it is it's just a good opportunity for you to go at your own pace and be able to work on your chakras, be able to work on opening your intuition and being able to connect with your guides and so on. So, I am very happy about that. And then other than that, I'm just out here trying to help the world heal and help everyone heal.
That's so good. We all do. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Until the next episode. Thank you so much for watching this awesome interview with my friend Josh. My name is Patricio. Please like and subscribe to see more of this type of material. And remember, if you don't do the change, nobody will do it for you.